You have to know what you stand for. You got to have a coherent, integrated worldview. Everybody has a philosophy, whether they want it or not. We are not perceptual level animals who just live through physical stimulus. So you need to connect things. And if you don't make that effort to be consistent and to connect your principles and make sure they're consistent, you're going to end up with contradictions. You'll be incoherent and probably neurotic.
Elon Musk indicated that the fundamental motivation for his actions is to solve potential problems for, quote, humanity. And then he asks, is that in alignment with the objectivist ethics? In reality, I can tell you that his motivation is not collectivistic and altruistic. How do I know? Because he's too creative for that. In order to have creative solutions, you've got to love what you do and have your subconscious be integrated around that thing. And the subject matter has to fascinate you. That's how you get really creative solutions. If it's something you're doing out of duty to a collective, there won't be any creative thought. So the fact that he is creative suggests that he has an individualistic interpretation of solving humanity's problems.
But in politics, this is how it works. We don't anymore have right or left candidates. We have candidates that position themselves somehow in the various positions around the culture wars. And I'm the guy who has the endorsement of Trump. And also, I will make some points about how I'm anti-woke. Now, anything else doesn't matter. The lies, the things that are inaccurate, these things don't matter. You tick the box that, hey, you're looking for an anti-woke guy, I'm that guy, and that's good enough. Because one characteristic of today's tribalism is not only that you follow the party line, because this is what group thinking has always been. It is that you see what is the opposite line, what is the other tribe doing, and you take the opposite line. This is why you can have completely suboptimal candidates still getting the votes because they're not the other guy.
The problem is that the government is doing more than protecting the rights of individuals. What they're doing is they're taxing these guys, regulating these guys, distributing spoils, aka entitlements to those guys over there. This foreign lobby has their ear. This one corporation is donating to this guy's campaign, and now he owes them a favor. It's all because the government has the ability to do favors and to punish people. So, like, to punish people beyond, proper prosecution for crime, for violating rights. So we need laissez-faire capitalism. I know it's a scary thought to people, but it's the neglect of capitalism that has gotten us into this mess.
Can being a professional games player, poker, chess, sports, esports, fulfill man's need for productivity, assuming you can make a living at it, takes it seriously, pursues growth, etc.? Yes, in essence. Why? Because it's entertaining to watch. So take poker, which is a zero-sum game. Millions of people watch poker on cable TV. It's very interesting, and it calls upon thinking skills. The ones who win, and the ability, which I lack a lot, the ability to master your emotions. The one reason why sports is so popular today is the lack of heroes. There are heroes to admire, people doing great things in sports, but not in the real world very much.
For conservatives, Atlas Shrugged is a minefield of things. They may not realize half the minefields, and so they might just step on them and say things that are opposed to religion or Christian ethics and not even realize it. But a lot of them, I suspect they will be well aware what Ayn Rand is saying. Conservatives have long been well aware of what Ayn Rand was saying, and that it is not a conservative message at all, fundamentally. So those I fear that they will simply leave out or misrepresent or turn on their heads. Others may be too subtle for them to pick up on, as they just may step on those mines. But for conservatives, they're walking through a minefield if they attempt to do a religious conservative version of Atlas Shrugged.
When the price controls were put on in 1973, 2, Nixon slapped on wage and price controls. And overnight, by decree of Nixon. We were in a statist economy. We were living in a dictatorship. Goods started disappearing from the shelves. It was a disaster. He had to retreat from it. But when that happened, everybody that had a public voice in the world spoke out in favor of it, in favor of price controls, except two people, Ayn Rand and Milton Friedman. Milton Friedman said it was slavery. I think he's a little bit better than, maybe became better. That is the very thing that Ayn Rand looked down on him for, was his separation morality from economic policy. But when the rubber had hit the road there, he condemned it morally.
Yeah, who would have known that the protesters brave enough to really stand up to the government in Iran would be a bunch of girls, and that men around the world would basically be silent about it. You know, all the saviors of masculinity and gender roles, and, you know, men as providers and protectors. They're silent about, you know, a bunch of girls standing up to a government, to their police and military in a country where they're subjugated. It's I guess it speaks to the fact that liberty and, you know, just basic rights are not something that's very important to virtually anybody in today's landscape.